guys, what's up? It is Ingrid here, and this is my wrap-up, part 2. So if you haven't seen my other video, I'll have it linked in the description. It was all the books that I read in October. In this one, I'm going to be talking about all of the graphic novels that I read, which is 19. Yeah, they are spread over 10 series, so I will do them like in series. So I also borrowed a lot of them from the library, so I'll just be putting up photos. And I don't want to be talking too much because this is probably going to be a long video. Grab a cup of tea, sit down, and we'll talk about everything I read. So I did co-host the Trick or Treat-a-thon, and I will say I read everything on my TBR, so if you watch that and wonders, I will talk about all of it because I managed to read all of it. But I'm not going to now say which prompt I read things for because there's so much to keep track of in this video already. But if you watch that, I did complete all the prompts that I said with the comics that I said. Make sense? So I'm just going to be doing it in like order of when I read them, and then I'll put the series together so that I only talk about the same series once. So we will start with a very popular series, and that is Saga. I read volumes 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so this series follows these two characters. I actually have them on my graphic novel shelf, even though I don't own the comics. But we follow these two cuties, Marco and Alana, and they're from two different planets. He's from the planets with horns. She's from the planet with wings. I feel like I'm doing a puppet show now. And they fall in love and they have a baby. And now both of their people, like the people from their planet, wants to kill them. Yeah, so this is an adult sci-fi. It is very adult. And sometimes I feel like it's unnecessarily graphic. Like, yes, I understand that, like, it's adult, but they don't need to put, like, a penis on every page, you know? But I really like the story. There are a lot of, like, other plot things happening. It's not just the love story. Like, we follow a lot of tangent stories, which I really, really like. And I like this universe in general. I will say the 8th one was my favorite, and I think the 5th one was my least favorite. Overall, as a series, as a whole, I would give it 4 stars. It's not one that I'm like burning passion for, but I will be continuing if they pick it back up again, because I read the first 9, and those are all that are out so far, and they have said they want to do another 9, but don't have any updates on when or if those will be coming. If you like sci-fi, I think you'll like this series, but it is adult and graphic. But if you read a ton of series, like a ton of graphic novels, I mean, like I do, and fantasy and stuff, this will probably still be a good one. But for me, yeah, it was good. 4 stars. If you wonder individually, I gave volume 5 3 stars, volume 6 and 7 4 stars, volume 8 4.5 stars, and volume 9 3 stars. And then moving on, I read Blackbird volume 1. I really, really love this. I love this so much that I read it at my sister's house and I just left it there because I'm like, you need to read it. You just do. And the art style is beautiful. It's kind of like on the cover. The colors are so, so vibrant. Like, this artist is just... I will link her Instagram as well as her Twitter down below because I started following both because they're just that good. But we are following a girl that saw magic when she was younger, but nobody kind of believed her. And then one day, suddenly, she like sees it again, and she needs to like figure out, you know, what's going on. And her sister gets kidnapped, and she needs to figure out, you know, how to get her back. And I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I really, really hope they're gonna make more. I've tried to Google it, and I haven't found like a definite yes or a definite no. I think what could pull this series down for some people is that like you don't get a closure at the end of this volume, and there are some kind of like plot holes in the magic system and stuff but I just loved it. The art style, again, is probably maybe even my favorite. I'm like, I have Scotty Young up there, you know, still probably is my favorite, but the art style is so good, and I really like the magic and how she drew the magic and the storyline. So if you have been around on my channel for a bit and know what kind of comics I like, then you need to read this. You really do. The next one that I read is Giant Size Marvel something, and I am not a superhero fan in general. I don't really watch any superhero movies, don't really read any superhero comics, but the reason why I had to pick this up is because Scotty Young is the illustrator and I believe also the writer, and I am Scotty Young trash. You know, if he does anything, I want to read it. And so my sister bought this, said it was funny, so when I was at hers, I picked it up. It is super funny. It is about Marvel characters, but as like kindergarten kids. And so it's about them behaving like kindergarten kids and like fighting, and then these two new kids start, and both these two I don't know who's Avengers, who's X-Men, which of those are Marvel, if any of those are Marvel. But if I remember correctly, like, we have the Hulk and the guy in the red suit, the rich guy. Yeah. I'm not the best person to review this because, like, I don't care about the superhero element, but if you are a Marvel fan or a Scotty Young fan, or just think that the premise sounds cool, I really recommend reading it. I gave it 4 stars. It was good. I think if you are familiar with the characters, you're gonna find it a lot more funny than I did, but I still enjoyed it. And then next up, we have Maneaters Volume 1. This one, again, I thought it was so good and so funny that I just left it at my sister's because I'm like, you just need to read it. I don't care when you give it back, just, you need to read it, so I'm just gonna leave it here. And in this one, we're in a society where girls in, what do you call, like, period age? Menstrual age? There is probably a nicer way to say that. But when they hit that age, they turn into ferocious killer cats when they're on their period. And it is so funny. The government has basically kind of made this thing go away by making sure that girls don't get their period. And they've also separated, like, the men and the girls, so the guys get, like, estrogen-free water, and it's just, it's funny. It's really funny. I know some people don't find it as funny. I did. You have to take it with, what is it called, a grain of salt? Is that the expression? Like, you can't take it too seriously, and it was just really fun. I really like the ads. The reason why it's 4 stars and not 5 stars, the last issue is just ads. Like, not real ads, like ads that would be in the story. And even though it was fun, I just felt like it was a little bit too much, because they had them spaced out and I liked that better. But the storyline was great. I've already bought Volume 2, have not read it yet. Already pre-ordered Volume 3, because I think this series is so fun. If you think that the premise sounds fun and you think you're gonna find it funny, then pick it up. It is definitely, like, a little bit graphic, but it's funny. So funny. Really enjoyed it. And then up next we have Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the graphic novel, what's it called, adaptation. And I liked it. 3 stars. It was very average for me. The reason why I wanted to read it was just to freshen up on the Percy Jackson storyline. And I did actually read Volume 2 as well, so I'm gonna just put them into one. And the art style isn't, like, my favorite, but I also don't hate it. And so it was fun. I kind of got the story really easily retold. It was a lot quicker than if I had to reread the book. And so I gave the first one 3 stars, and I gave the second one 4 stars. So I might continue with this after I read the books for them, because I want to read the books first. But I did like them. I did think that, you know, it was fun. It was a new way to kind of get the story if you kind of want to reread the books, but don't want to spend that much time on it. Or if you have kids and you think they'll enjoy it more with pictures, then I recommend them. Next up, we have a series that I know that I've spoken about a couple times on my channel so far, and that is Nordlys. And I read this one, which is number 1, and then I read number 2, which is called Vikingene og Oraklet. And then I also read like a side story called Bjørnar, which is about the bear. So I will firstly tell you about this one because most of my viewers are English speaking viewers. And this one they have translated into English. It's called The Valley of Trolls. And so in this one we follow this girl Sonja, and she's a Norwegian girl, and her uncle gives her this little pin, and then that night this wooden creature comes into her house because he needs the pin back, and he ends up taking her into this world where there are Vikings and trolls and talking animals, and it's just a really good time. This definitely, like if you're Norwegian, you're gonna definitely be able to tell that it's written by a Norwegian person. There's so much cultural things that have made their way into the story. Upon rereading this though, because this was a reread for me, I didn't notice a hell of a lot of Peter Pan references, to the point where I almost thought it was too much. Especially because it's not like advertised as a Peter Pan retelling. It's not like, doesn't say anywhere that it's inspired by it or whatsoever. Once I started noticing the similarities, they kind of just kept coming, if that makes sense. But I also think if you like the storyline of Peter Pan, then you will probably like the storyline of this, which is what ended up happening to me. And if you are in Norwegian, or if you're interested in like Norwegian culture and folklore, then I definitely think that this will give you like a little bit of an insight to that. And so I really enjoy this series overall. I gave this one a 4 stars. I gave number 2 a 4 stars. That one is following directly after number 1, and we're following the same characters while also getting introduced to a couple new ones, and I like where the story is going, so I also give that 4 stars. And then I also gave Bjørnar, the side story, 4 stars. This one you don't have to read to like be able to read the stories, but it's just like a little side story about one of the bears that you meet in the series, and I thought it was really heartwarming. Like it pulled on my heartstrings. Might have shed a tear. It was really good. So this series is one that I really highly recommend, especially for kids. But you know, like I also enjoyed it. Next up is Lighter Than My Shadow. I ended up buddy reading this with Harker. I'll have their links in the description. And they were my co-hosts for the witch/wizard team. And so we ended up reading this together. And this follows the author's struggle with eating disorder as well as sexual assault. And I cried so much. I gave this 5 stars. It's a pretty long graphic novel, meaning that it's just over 500 pages, and it is black and white and gray, but I felt like it suited the story really, really well. And I've never had any experience with eating disorder, so I can't speak on that representation, but from the reviews that I read, it does say that it portrays it accurately. And unfortunately, I do have experience with sexual assault, and that I felt was represented very well, if you can call it that. Like, you could tell that she struggled afterwards with like night terrors and like panic attacks kind of, and it was just done very well, and I could see my own struggles in it a lot, and so that's when the tears came. This one I think can be very triggering. Like, I didn't know there was going to be sexual assault in it. If I had, I would have gotten into it a bit more hesitantly, but because I'm so far in my mental health, it didn't end up being like a bad trigger. I ended up kind of finding comfort in it because it was, in a way, good to see my struggles portrayed in a artistic way. And so this one is definitely not for young readers. It is definitely not for someone that don't feel like they could handle the topics. But if you're interested to learn more about, eating disorders or mental health in general, or just think it sounds interesting, then please pick it up. 5 stars. It was so good. And then we have Lumberjanes Volume 7, and I really, really love this. I think it might be my favorite one in the series so far. And so, in this series in general, we follow a camp where this group of kids end up in a lot of weird adventures regarding a lot of mythical creatures and gods and a whole lot of fun. And in this one, we kind of expand the group a little bit, and there's also a lot of cats in this. And there was just something about it that just made me love it. They did have a change of artist. I think maybe it was volume 5 or 6, so pretty recently from where I am. And I've gotten used to the new art style by now, and I'm liking it. I really enjoy this series. I think it's a really fun middle grade / YA. You know, if you like fantasy, if you like adventure, if you like stories focused heavily on friendship, then pick this up. It's worth it. And then next up we have the Nameless City Volume 1. And so in this one we follow 2 characters in this city named the Nameless City, and the reason why it's known as like the Nameless City is because it keeps getting conquered like relatively quick. And so every time someone conquers the city, they give it a new name. And so if you ask like 10 people on the street, they're going to give you 10 different names for the city. So it's just more widely known as the Nameless City. And so we follow this boy that is in the army of the people that are currently in position in the city. And then we follow this girl that lives on the street, and they become friends. And this was just so good. Really, really good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I think it handled a lot of topics that are relevant today with different cultures and kind of what people expect of you, and I really enjoyed it. It was really, really good. I'm excited to continue with this series. I don't have that much else to say. Like the characters, like the story. Excited to see where it goes from here. Yeah. And then second to last series I'm going to be talking about is the Witch Boy series. This one was a reread. I also read volume 2. But this first volume, we follow this boy named Aster and his family. Every boy becomes a shapeshifter and every girl becomes a witch. Now he's a boy, but he wants to be a witch and not a shapeshifter. And his family won't allow it because he's a boy. And so this thing happens and he needs to use his witchcraft to help out his family. And it is so heartwarming. It's about, you know, being true to who you are and going against traditions, and it's really, really good. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's really, really cute. I like the art style. It's basically what you see on the cover here, and I really recommend it. It's a middle grade one. It's just cute, good, handles a lot of important topics. And then, as I said, I also read the sequel, The Hidden Witch. This one follows the same characters, but also another character. And it deals with friendship and family. It was really good. If you enjoyed volume 1, you're probably going to enjoy volume 2 as well. I gave that one 4 stars as well, and I'm very excited to pick up the third and final one that comes out in November, so not too long now. And we have made it to the last one, which is Chew Volume 1. Now, this one was one I bought last October, and I've been hesitant to pick it up because I like the premise, but it also sounds very gory. Because we follow this detective named Tony Chu, and he is a psychopathic, which basically means, like, if he eats an apple, he gets kind of an impression of how the tree that the apple came from was, you know, if it has been sprayed with anything. But it also means that if he eats, like, a finger of someone that has been murdered, he can get an impression of their life and how they died. And so he ends up being able to use this gift for his detective work. It's basically what it sounds like. And I thought it sounded funny. It is funny. it is a little bit graphic, like, you know, there's some things that he has to eat that are kind of gross. I don't really want to say any more about the synopsis because I don't, like, it's relatively short. I believe it's a very long series though. I am definitely going to be continuing the series. I thought it was really funny, perfect for October time, but also not that like gruesome that you can't read it any other time of the year. And it was just, I was still like a bit like, what? But it was really good. If you think it sounds like something you would like and you kind of like the art style, then I recommend giving it a try. So you guys, we have made it to the end. That was the 19 graphic novels that I read in October, the 10 different series that I read them from. Hi. I don't think I'm going to be reading as many in November. Probably not, because I'm doing the Believe-a-thon. If you have not seen my Believe-a-thon TBR, I will also link that down below. But please let me know if you guys read graphic novels, if you have any recommendation based on, you know, what things that I like, if I gave you any recommendations, if you read any of these, what do you think? I will also have all my social media stuffs linked in the description if you want to check those out, as well as every single thing that I talked about today will be linked down there. And you can hit the subscribe button if you want. That would make me happy, and you'll be able to see my next video, which will be on Tuesday, and it will actually be a comic and manga haul, which I've never done before. So if you like this video, you'll probably also like that video, I hope. So yeah, subscribe, stick around, comment, make my day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.